Thomas Edison was once told by a teacher he was too stupid to learn anything. Beethoven was once told by a music teacher that that as a composer he was hopeless. And Michael Jordan was once cut from his high school basketball team. When I think of success, I think of individuals who set goals for themselves, who motivate themselves, and who continue to challenge themselves.
Success means achieving your goals, and you have to have goals in order to have success.
The way one promotes and practices peace, kindness, and understanding.
Trying your best no matter what it is that you are doing.
A lifetime goal that you have to aim for, and no matter what it is, you just have to just get it.
You can look at yourself in the mirror and say, I've done a real good job, I'm satisfied, it's a good day of work. I'm happy, I've made others happy.
Accomplishing goals that, you feel that you need to accomplish. It doesn't have to be for anybody else, whether that be, the greatest construction worker ever, or a really hardcore guy who can dig holes a lot. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can succeed in that, you succeeded.
I believe that 100 years from now, it won't matter at all how much I made, what kind of house I lived in, what kind of car I drove. But what might be important is that it made a difference in the life of a student.
How you can make the world a better place. Period.
I don't really believe in failure because, that saying, for every failure there is, there's always, you learn something from it.
Second place and down. Anything that, if you don't win the gold prize.
I always think of failure as an opportunity to improve. People, if they fail, they choose to fail.
As soon as you give up, you fail. Even if you don't get what you're trying to get it, trying to do it, is succeeding.
The inability to distinguish things for yourself and think outside the box.
Failure is not learning from your mistakes. Failure is being afraid to take risks.
Failure for me means I'll grow old without making a positive impact on this planet, because that's one of my main goals in life. Is I want to change the world. Call me crazy if you want, it kind of is. That's what I want to do.
Obviously life has a lot of obstacles and it's very hard to overcome them at times, but you just got to work through it and roll with the punches.
Failure is not living up to what we know we can do and not achieving that happiness that we know we want.
Failure to me is not an end point. It's a beginning.
Being happy?
It's all about my parents.
It's all about your parents?
Doesn't matter how happy I am.
How others feel about what you just did.
Success means hard work.
At the end of the day, you're happy with what you've done.
Would I be a teacher if I measured success based on how much money I have?
Happiness and the happiness of those who've gotten the chance to meet you.
As long as you're happy with what you did and you did your best.
If I inspired my friend to do good, when they look at me, they say, look at this guy, he got good grades. Why can't I be like that?
Lack of money means that you're more worried about things that are not available to you, because you don't have to worry about what food is on the next table and things like that. Money in itself doesn't necessarily make you happy, but it does free you up to be able to pursue avenues that do make you happy.
There isn't a definite way to measure it. For me, money, it matters, but it's not like my sole purpose in life. It just happens in the end of your life. You look back and see what you've done, see what you could have done.
I tend to not put a lot of value in monetary compensation, but ultimately I think that what it comes down to is being true to yourself, not compromising what it is that you want to do in your life.
My personal goal is to always be reflecting, always looking for improvements. I consider myself a life learner, and that's something that I push for, is to continually find opportunities to learn.
Find peace with nature.
Becoming an NFL football player.
Pediatrician or a lawyer.
My purpose in life is to have a purpose. Just do my best.
I want to be a nurse.
Soccer. I just want to get as far as I can with it.
Being a soccer player.
Quarterback for the Cowboys.
To graduate college.
I'd love to become an actor.
I do want to be successful in running.
Aspire to help the aged.
Build an orphanage for all the people who all the children who don't have parents and stuff.
Every year I strive to be a better teacher.
I want to be a hairstylist.
I want to become a lawyer.
Read as many books as I possibly can.
I want to write a book. I want to go to space.
Get an engineering job.
Most of my aspirations are personal family aspirations at this point, as well as, obviously being the best teacher that I can be and being the best, nicest person that I can be, always being respectful, always thinking about others before I think about myself, that kind of thing.
To know that I've touched people's lives. If kids remember me or kids know that I care about them, that's success to me.
I was playing in the state tournament when I was in high school, and I was not expected to do very well. Like, I was a low seed in the tournament, and I actually ended up doing quite well until I got to the final round, and everyone was like, oh, you're on such a big drive, like you could do really well, and I was about to advance to the next round, and I ended up choking and like losing to the person I was playing. And it was a big mess, and I started crying at the end. I didn't try the best that I could. I couldn't even focus on what I was doing. I lost sight of what my goal was, and I wasn't having fun. It was just trying not to get beat at that point.
A lot of people, they look down on cheerleaders because they're kind of like, oh, it's not a sport, it's easy. All we really needed was just a few people to back us up. We needed each other, like as friends and as teammates, and we just kept working hard. We didn't care what anyone said, and we just kept working because we wanted it so bad, and we didn't like, I mean, yeah, there were times that we would goof off and stuff, but like, I think in the end, like, you know, 97% of the time we were really working hard. What happened, we ended up going to regionals.
When I was a much younger man, I had decided that I wanted to go to the 7 continents in the world, and I saved my money, I invested my money, and within 4 or 5 years I had visited all 7 continents, and I've actually climbed on all 7 continents, and I'm very proud of that, and I saw a lot of the world and learned a lot about myself.
I'm playing violin, and I had a recital, and I was really scared. It was a really complicated piece, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to fail at this miserably. So the goal I set for myself was, if I made a mistake, to keep going. I did end up making a mistake, and I kept going. And by the end of the piece, I had made it through with maybe 1 or 2 mistakes, and nobody had noticed.
When I came here, I was nothing. Not great, nothing. I didn't know a word in English, and I went from 0 to where I am now.
I've had really low points. Like when I was doing SGA teaching and in grad school, I never thought I could do it. But I refused to not do well, and I want to be a role model, so like I pushed really hard and I did well, and like I can't believe I did it and was successful. Even my small failures, like, you know, having to give up a personal life or something like that, led to my success.
We had a girl at Marshall, and she wasn't my student, but I saw her in the hall, and she had to walk like this. I'd watched her. She walked like this with her right hand down here on her leg. And she was in Vietnam, and I had a feeling that she had polio, but I didn't know her, so I didn't want to, you know, I knew she was very shy, very quiet. And finally one day I saw her in the hall, and she was walking down the hall, and I was hobbling down the hall, and I was standing out there, and I went up and started talking to her. I knew her name was Katie, and I said, hey Katie, I missed your mention. I don't have you for biology, but I could talk to you for a second. And I said, have you ever had any kind of help for the, you know, I assume you have polio. And she says, yeah. She said, when I was 9, I had some surgery in Mississippi, and they didn't do such a good job on surgery, and they said I would never walk again. I said, well, have you ever been seen or screened by like the Philadelphia Shriners Hospital, anybody other than this thing that was like 7 years ago? And she says, no. You know, we don't have any money, and blah blah blah. And I said, well, it doesn't matter. And this is in early April, and I said, well, in May there's a screening up at Route 50 at the Shrine Temple. Can I take you? Can I pick you up and take you there? And she said, well, I have to check with my family. And she went home, and then she came back a couple days later, and she said, I can go. And so I met her up there on a Saturday morning, and they looked at her, and they saw her, and they looked at the scars and stuff, and they said, oh, sweetie, we can help you. And of course, I'm almost crying now, but I got really emotional. And so they filled out a ton of paperwork, and then about a month later, we took her to Philadelphia. We didn't see her for the rest of the year. She was gone for almost 3 months. This god of surgeons walked in, and he's like one of the top surgeons in the world, pediatric orthopedics. And he had about 10 doctors behind him, you know, like Dr. House, you know. And he looked at her and he said, stand up and walk across the room, sweetheart. And I'll never forget this. And she walked across the room, and he goes, who did this to you? And, you know, they messed her up in Mississippi, but polio is a very serious disease anyway. And she says, well, here's what we're going to do, sweetie. We're going to take this muscle from here, and we're going to move it, and we're going to put it over here. We're going to take your hamstring, because she had no quad muscles. So her arm was effectively her quads. And she said, we're going to do some things, and we're going to rearrange a bone here and there. And I think in a few months, you're going to be walking normal. Not, you'll limp always. And I wasn't supposed to be in a room, but I was listening. I was on a bench outside, you know. And then we said goodbye, and I didn't see her for almost 4.5 months. And then I was in class one day. I'll never forget it. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And this girl was a teeny little girl like this. Her dream was to be a cheerleader. She always wanted to be a cheerleader. She couldn't. And I didn't know, I didn't know what happened to her. I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. I thought she went back to Vietnam. Now here. And I opened my door, and there she's standing. And well, she had a cane, you know, and she was sitting against the locker, and she said, "I just want to show you something." She walked down the hall, and I was like, whew. That was it. That was the greatest thing I've ever done as a teacher, right there. That girl, right there, because she walked. And if I would have seen her in the hall, I mean, she would probably still be on her hand like this. And she came, and I just came to say thank you. That, if I never taught another day, if I never lived another day, that probably ranks up there in the top 5 things I've ever done in my whole life. And I didn't even do the surgery. I just got her. I got her in a place where her life was now completely changed. She moved away, and don't you know, she actually became a college cheerleader. I guess my greatest accomplishment in my 30 years as a teacher would be this little girl named Katie.
Just do your best.
As long as you're still breathing, there's hope.
It's okay to fail. Can you learn from your mistakes and improve on them in the future?
You got to remain humble though, and you know, just keep your head up and never ever give up.
And if I have one message for students, it's that I see your potential, your teachers see your potential, and it's so aggravating when you don't.
You see somebody that's hurting, you got to help her. You know, you have to help them. It's your duty as a human being.
Follow your dreams.
You heard at Lee High School, it doesn't matter who you are or what people say about you.
Just go out and be the person you want to be. Don't let obstacles prevent you from achieving your goals.